Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Wakimbaloye here in Abuja. Tonight our attention is on the National Assembly, specifically the Red Chamber. In the past, where of course some of us have followed the politics of the National Assembly, it used to be the House of Representatives that has had this burden of trying to explain the issues of budget padding. When members of the National Assembly come out to the public to say there's something wrong in the budget, some of the issues we'll be highlighting for you tonight on the program. Stick around with me because we'll be getting a member of the Appropriations Committee. The man who moved the motion for the suspension of Senator Ningi is with me in the studio. Of course, we'll be getting some insight from the co-founder of Budget, he will be giving us details on some of the unusual activities in the 2024 budget. Some expose tonight. Stick around because first, let's serve you some of your political roundup stories.
Following the abduction of over 200 students in Kuriga community of Chukun local government area in Kaduna State, the House of Representatives has passed a resolution urging the National Security Advisor to revisit and optimize fully the acts passed for the National Counter-Terrorism Center, as well as the National Center for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons. This, according to the House, is to quell the security threats, specifically in the northern parts of the country. The House, through a motion by Honorable Ahmed Munir, expressed concern that despite the 3.2 trillion naira allocated to the defense and security sector on drones and other military equipment that could have tracked, located and rescued victims, represent 11.8% of the national budget in 2024. The House is further urging the federal government to absolve the military and security establishment from the restrictive envelope budget system, allowing them to develop a robust budget that is based on needs assessment that reflects security peculiarities and realities on ground. The Inspector General of Police, Mr. Kayode Egbetokun, has ordered the immediate establishment of a new police mobile force and deployment of special forces to Kuriga community in Kaduna State, following the recent abduction of 287 school children from the community. The IGP gave the order during his visit to the governor of Kaduna State, Senator Sani, at the government house in Kaduna, where he explains that the police authorities, in collaboration with other security agencies, will adopt both kinetic and non-kinetic approaches to ensure the safe return of the abducted school children. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Nyesom Wike, says the current administration is committed to ensuring foreign investors are at ease while doing business in the FCT. Mr. Wike made the commitment during a courtesy visit by the Polish ambassador to Nigeria, Mrs. Joanna Tarnowska, at his office in Abuja. The Rivers APC caretaker chairman, Tony Okocha, has accused Governor Fumara of having no intention of conducting local government elections in this state. Mr. Okocha made the allegation during an interaction with journalists in Port Harcourt. And the Bayelsa State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal has dismissed a fresh motion filed by the All Progressives Congress and its governorship candidate, Mr. Timipre Silva, seeking disqualification of members of the panel from proceeding with their petition challenging the election victory of Governor Doyediri. The chairman of the tribunal, Justice Adekunle Adeleye, dismissed the motion after he took arguments from counsel to the parties in the suit. In a brief ruling, Justice Adeleye held that a letter from the President of the Court of Appeal on March 5 mandated the tribunal to proceed with the hearing of the petition, irrespective of any application by the parties.
Thank you so much. The Senate, who was engulfed by the statement from one of his own, Senator Abdul Ningi from Bauchi State, today has received a punishment from his colleague. The Senate, under the leadership of Senator Godswill Akpabio, suspended Senator Abdul Ningi over allegations of 3.7 trillion budget padding allegations. Senator Ningi is from Bauchi Central Senatorial District and was suspended for 3 months after a long, stormy session in the Red Chamber today. A member of the Appropriations Committee, Senator Ibrahim, was the one who moved the motion for Ningi's suspension for 12 months over allegations of criminal misinformation and breach of peace in the National Assembly and the country by extension. Let me allow you into some of the sound bites which ensued today. First and foremost, let's hear from Senator Ningi what he said on the floor, and we hear also from Senator Godswill Akpabio.
In this budget that Yari presented to you, I have facts, constituency by constituency. Some 120 billion, some 50 billion, some 30 billion. Mr. President, some have less than 1 billion. Mr. President, as I speak to you, I do not know your take-home pay. You know my own. I do not know the take-home pay of any of the principal officers.
You said in conclusion, but let me just say that in your speech, you tended to deviate from the issues on the floor, and you tended to bundle a lot of issues together.
All right, here are some of the comments. The debate went further. The Senate went into a rowdy session. Those who were disagreeing over what went to who got what was appropriated between the senators. This caused a lot of disagreement. But let me allow you also to listen to some of the senators. One of those who vehemently said, we are all culprits. One of the senators who told his colleagues that we are all in this, we are all culprits. Take a listen to Senator Jarigbe Agom from Cross River State.
Senator Ningi took this to the public domain, standing up to apologize here. Even after he repeated that some people got 100 billion from this budget, some people got 60 billion. What apology are you expecting? Let us do the right thing, and I am saying it as part of the leadership of this Senate. I am not bothered. I was going to online, just as this is going on, it's trending now, that every senator got 500 million. My appeal to Nigerians is not about what was said there today, because I'm not going to deny that. But we have 12 months to implement 2024 budget. Let every Nigerian wait to see whether there is any of these senators who will not bring enough boreholes, enough solar street lights, enough road construction, and other projects, training and empowerment that will be up to 500 million.
Some senators here, so-called senior senators, got 500 million each. I am a ranking senator, I didn't get. Did I go to the press? Most of you got. And yes, if we want to go into those issues, excuse me, if we want to go into those issues, yes. So I think that Senator Ningi.
I'm seeing about again.
All right, it's a case of who gets what. You got more than me. I got, you didn't get as much, 500 million. I'm a ranking senator. You got 500. Why am I not get 500? You got 300. That was what it looked like on the floor today. But this is the moment where the man who blew the whistle on his colleagues, and some of this issue got to speak, and got suspended by his own colleagues. Take a listen.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved that in view of the grievous offense of Senator Ningi, that he be suspended. Those in support of 1 year suspension. Okay. Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved by an amendment has been offered by distinguished Senator Maidoki and seconded by distinguished Senator Sani Musa, that he be suspended for only 3 months from the Senate. Those in support of the suspension for 3 months say aye. Those against say nay.
And so at some point, we saw Senator Ningi take a painful, long walk out of the red chamber. Tonight, we'll be finding out whether what he said was right. This is not the first time I've had engagement with in the midst of the storm over budget padding in the past. This time it was in the House of Reps. But let's take a look at what exactly is going to happen. We'll be hearing from the man who moved the motion for his suspension, a member of the Senate Committee on Appropriations, who will be speaking with us on the program. But let's get some expert opinion on the budgetary activities and especially the 2024 budget. The co-founder of Budget, Mr. Ningi, joins us virtually live from Lagos. Thank you so much, Mr. Ningi, for joining us tonight. I appreciate it. Let's get straight to the point. What is particular or what is spectacular about what Senator Ningi said? Is there any kind of 3 trillion part of the budget that was not public knowledge or that was not known? That looks like the foundation of what got Senator Ningi into trouble.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I think as the Senate session was going on, we were also fact-checking and pouring on the numbers within my team. And one of the key things we found out that we were not able to lay hold to the claim by Senator Ningi. A budget of 28.77 trillion was passed into the law. We were not able to see in any situation where 3.7 trillion naira, there always, historically, there are items in the budget that do not have a breakdown. So, for example, the statutory transfers like the NJC and the NHRC and the NDDC, they don't have statutory breakdown. TED funds, they don't have statutory breakdown. That has been a campaign and advocacy point. But that does not mean that there's a certain level capital projects by the federal government that is now being appropriated and do not have a breakdown. Let's not forget the entire capital project is around 9 trillion naira that was signed into law. So to say there's a 3.7 trillion naira amount somewhere and that amount does not have a breakdown, and we can't find that in the budget now on analysis. So what I expected was him to bring his own breakdown, to say this is what I've looked at, this is what I've checked, and this is what I can find. But it's we don't have evidence to back that up. There are statutory elements in the budget that there are no breakdowns, but that does not seem unusual. It seems like the situation from the past.
All right, so let's take a look at it. In the 2024 budget as presented by President Tinubu on the 29th of May, he presented a budget of 27.50 trillion naira. But by the time the National Assembly passed it, there's been an addition of 1.27 trillion, which now brought the budget to 28.78 trillion. Am I right?
Yes, you're right on that. Perfectly right. And if you look at that budget, there is deeper than that. Because part of that budget, the budget we have right now, have the MDA's budget, which is called the Ministries, Department and Agencies budgets. Then we also have now the GOE's budget, the Government-Owned Enterprises budget. A chunk of that budget, out of that budget, around 2 trillion naira of the budget presented by the president is the Government-Owned Enterprises budget. So if Senator Ningi says there's a 25 trillion naira budget, yes, that is the MDA's budget. It's different from government-owned enterprises, their budget are now just added. We have a 27.7 trillion. What the National Assembly, in their own analysis, is to take around 900 billion out of the budget for the GOEs, and they added 1.2 trillion naira, new budgets. So if you look at technically the entire addition, that National Assembly, it might look like 1.2 trillion, but the total sum of the project, based on our analysis and finding, is around 2.2 trillion naira, because the budget for the GOEs was brought down from 1.95 trillion to 1 trillion naira. So they took down the budget of the GOEs, they added another extra 1.2 trillion, and they were able to insert project around 2.2 trillion. That is part of the conversation where we have from the senator that says, everybody was indiscriminately getting an allocation for an amount. Some people got 500 million. We've done the analysis. Some senators that had projects around 13 to 11 billion in their constituency. And it looks like it was a free-for-all. And before this budget was passed, we said the president needs to have a grip of the budget. This is the same thing Muhammadu Buhari's government did. And why he spent so much, he borrowed so much, and he achieved so little. The president is on the same pathway again. The answers will not be different. Why? Because we are not spending money targeted at development. Most of the projects in the budget, I mean, there are over 1,000 bulbs, over 700 street lights in this budget.
So we'll get to those details just in a bit. From part of the analysis that you and your team did, there are areas where maybe that was what Senator Ningi was making reference to, were excluded from the budget breakdown, which include TED Fund, National Judicial Council, the National Assembly, the Public Complaints Commission, going to about 3.3 trillion, isn't it? Why is this unusual, though? If this is what Senator Ningi seemed to have flagged.
It is factual that he says that, but I mean, it doesn't mean that we are running two concurrent budgets. There's a different conversation that those projects should be detailed. You know, TED Fund should come and not just get an allocation. What are you spending money on? The INEC has been collecting huge sums of funds. There is no public detail about what those funds are used for. The same way with the NJC, even National Assembly. In this current budget, the National Assembly gave a very broad summary of its allocations, but there are no detailed allocations at the granular level that anybody can interrogate. So there is a bigger conversation. So
it shows an opaqueness of some sort. Yeah. So you cannot just say we're spending a particular envelope with figure on it without giving Nigerians the details.
Exactly.
Transparency issues.
These are big transparency issues. And that, if you put all those funds together, they're around 3.5 to 3.7 trillion. So if that is what he wants to interrogate on, that there are components of the budget where there are no breakdown, that is very factual. But if the executive and the National Assembly needs to push back and say, we need a breakdown. What is the NJC spending on? We gave more money to the NJC and say, what are they spending all that money on? There should be a detailed breakdown to the public about the same way you have detailed breakdown of the agriculture budget, the finance budget, the budget of national planning budget. There should be a detailed breakdown of that. I think on that point, Senator Ningi is right. But to look at it, we're running two parallel budgets and there's a certain amount that is held back, and no, I don't think that's factual.
So let's go to the part where there seems to be some rumples, and that's where Senator Jarigbe said, look, you got 500 million. I didn't. I'm a ranking senator. It's only perhaps in the political class, it is when they get and did not get that we hear the hue and cry. But let's get to it. What caught your eye, Sean? You gave a breakdown of the distribution of the project by value. 7,447 projects, up to 2.24 trillion, was inserted in the 2024 budget. 55 of the projects range about 580 billion, are greater than 5 billion in value. 281 projects worth 491 billion were inserted in the budget. 3,706 of those projects within the range of 100 to 500 million, what 759 billion was also inserted in the budget. Give us a breakdown. Why does this look like a discrepancy to you?
It's a big problem. And if you look at it, this did not start with the National Assembly. This started with the 9th National Assembly. This whole arbitrarily indiscriminate insertion of projects by the National Assembly where, because I agree to some extent that appropriation powers belong to the National Assembly, but powers must be used in a responsible manner. That is what I believe. The National Assembly has gotten to a point that it now, after the budget has been presented by the executive, it carves out an amount for itself. It allocates those amounts to each of the senators. Let's not forget, previously, there was a constituency fund for projects, and that was 100 billion naira. And everybody agreed that if that is the sacrifice you are going to make to allow the budget to be passed, if that's what you're going to use to oil the wheels of budget passing, let us have that. And if you're going to raise that to 200 billion or 250 billion, considering that the budget is now have gotten bigger compared to previous years, that's fine. But for you to now go and add over 7,000 projects to the budget, at over 2.2 trillion naira. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So, and you gave us the details of how these budgets, the breakdown. For example, you gave us categories. Yeah. Category 1,150 street lights worth 212 billion. 427 boreholes worth 82.5 billion. 170 ICT projects with a value of 30.95 billion. 7.61 billion for empowerment of traditional rulers. Yes, you heard it right. For empowerment of traditional rulers.
We're bringing the churches. Now, people now put construction of Anglican church hall in the budget. And that's what we have become now. It's no longer about what is framed as national development. This is not a local government budget. This is not a state budget. This is the government of the federal government of Nigeria. And it's now become so indiscriminate that everybody now insists. And the president did not take its time to review the budget. And this could have taken 3 or 4, 5 days to analyze, push back a little bit, and now get a proper budget.
I mean, do you think, Sheon, that maybe the president or the executive does not have the time to scrutinize all the National Assembly and twisted because of their own influence and their powers of appropriation to ensure that they get all of this into at a time that we said Nigeria does not have money?
I mean, politics, governance in democracy is about forbearance. It's not because you have every power that you have to use it. It's about understanding that what is important in the bigger goal. What is the bigger goal out here? We are supposed to be in a period of fiscal tightening. We knew what lose money in the economy, what it did to the imbalances in the economy. Because at the end of the day, if you don't generate the revenues to deliver this project, what are you going to do about it? You likely start borrowing for some of these projects that do not have value, or you also now go and do ways and means, because you're under pressure to deliver some of these projects. So we are lying to ourselves at the end of the day.
So
we are trying to tighten on the monetary side,
yeah,
but not use on the fiscal side. It will never add up.
The part of the conversation you and I had before this program that broke my heart, I'd like you to conclude and anchor on it. The part where projects were categorized and pushed to MDAs or even cooperative organizations that don't have capacity to execute. And they say that it's anchored for accountability purposes. Give us an understanding just in about 60 seconds so that we can anchor. This particular one made my heart bleed, except someone explains to me what I do not understand.
So you have a problem, and the Ministry of Agri is the biggest culprit of this, and maybe because he was a former senator. You have the executive proposed 363 billion for the Ministry of Agri budget. It came out with 993 billion, over 600 billion. What thousands of projects were provided, were put in, and you have some agencies that become notorious. Federal Cooperative College or G-River. What exactly that agency? Why do he gets a chunk of prayer that inserted into his budget? National Productivity Center. Even the main Ministry of Agri gets that same way. Then you now see an agency that is supposed to be a federal cooperative college. It is a school. Now building a town hall, almost 800, 900, 1,000 kilometers far away from the school. And you tell me that's not about that's not accountability. What is the capability? What is the technical capability of the Federal Cooperative College or G-River to deliver a church, a church hall for an Anglican community? What is within the scope of that school? And if you look at the budget, a lot of this session, it has nothing to do about the capabilities of those MDAs to deliver. So the executive is losing his powers to actually steer the budget in the side of development.
I thought some of my producers would be able to get some of the items that can make heart bleed, or in this kind of country that we belong to, support for traditional rulers and chiefs, support for language studies and arts in Bayelsa West Senatorial District, provision of security patrol vehicles in Lagos, like you mentioned, National Center for Agricultural Mechanization, Ilorin, anchored, all of these projects anchored on them. Or Federal Cooperative College or G-River. There are hundreds of projects anchored on that. Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, 2,470 projects. Federal Ministry of Work, 263 projects. Sheon, we need to go. 30 seconds to wrap up. Where do we go from here?
I think the president has to step in for me. And I said it clearly. If the president doesn't step in, if he thinks I will close my eyes and let go, this is a brazen attempt not to make development happen. he has to ask a question. What exactly is the purpose of the federal government here? And he has to come to a political solution. I don't think maybe a legislative solution is a way out of this, because I believe to some extent the budget being a law can be adjusted, can be amended, can be tweaked. Assembly. He needs to set a cap for what can be inserted in the budget. And I think that's best as a political solution.
What worries everyone is not the fact that this project will go into the constituency, but the fact that at the end of the day, this project shown budgets, and Channels Television, we've done documentaries on constituency projects that never get completed or even get off the ground. Money goes into the pockets of individuals. Thank you so much, Seun Onigbinde, co-founder of Budget. Thank you so much indeed for your time.
Thank you so much, Seun. I
appreciate it. Let's switch your attention now and speak to a member of the Appropriations Committee, the man who moved the motion for the punishment of Senator Ningi, the chairman of Senate Committee on Interparliamentary Affairs Worldwide, and a member of the Ad hoc Committee on Ways and Means, the deputy chair on gas in the Senate on gas. Senator Jimoh Ibrahim joins us live here in our studio. Thanks so much indeed, Senator, for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Is there more because, I mean, it makes a heart bleed when you hear issues relating to transparency of those who are in public office. Is there anything that you're a member of the appropriation, you start on these figures? Is there an explanation on these unusual activities which some of these figures are anchored on?
Well, Shehu, don't let your heart bleed. Otherwise, you can pack up. What is your heart bleeding about?
It's a manner in which
what is definition? What is definition of
and leadership has been the manner in which leadership in this country has gone. That's what makes my heart bleed.
Don't let it bleed too much.
It's bleeding because I have the passion of this country.
The key issue here is this: what is the budget? By ordinary definition, financial guides to expenditure. There are two sides to account: income and expenditure. You need to be guided. We don't write budgets at the National Assembly. President Tinubu has come with a fantastic agenda of a new hope. He has distilled this to the rural areas. He's more concerned about life of the common people. And he wants them to be good. You said 7,000 projects for borehole is too abnormal for 250 million people. Come on. This is not right. You said projects are distilled to NGOs, government parastatals, and they don't have capacity to implement. Are they supposed to implement? They are just mapped out there to track transaction activities. They advertise these projects in the national newspaper for bidding. Nigerians went there to bid, and they got the contracts. You are saying that we have too many boreholes, and you know we don't have a central water system in Nigeria. And you know the import of climate change and tragedy of the common activities to water. In fact, the prediction is that in about 5-6 years, you won't have sufficient water to sustain life. So you want people to die in penury? They should not have borehole. National Assembly have taken borehole to their villages. Are we the one implementing these projects and contracts? Do we award contract at the National Assembly? Now you have first charges on the budget. You said 3-point-something billion is missing. And you saw clearly that on the first charge of the budget is 3-point-something trillion. So where is the money missing from? They are just embarrassing government every day. Government that have desire, good intention to ensure that we come out of poverty.
It's one of your colleagues that blew the whistle. And we're just analyzing the figure. By the way, Senator, what is being said here on the program is in the unusual manner in which some of these figures are anchored. And you say you do not write a budget, but no, you did, because some of your colleagues, this constituency project came from the National Assembly, not from the executive.
Do you know we have a constitutional power for appropriation? When I say we don't write budget, there's the budget department, there's even budget ministry. Things are decentralized, they are normalized to produce efficiency. When they come to Senate and we voice out, then it becomes a problem. You don't even give us opportunity, to get information. Somebody is saying project was sent to cooperative society in Bayelsa. So therefore, did we say that cooperative society should go and implement the budget?
Why did you then put it there, Senator?
It's mapping for national institution for you to be able to get hold of what belongs to where and who is handling what. Not that they should go and implement or build the roads or do the borehole.
Senator, because you sat on the Committee of Appropriations.
Yes.
How do you defend monies are budgeted for support for traditional rulers and chiefs? In the federal budget.
Okay, in the federal system of government, and given our historical trajectory, are traditional rulers not part of government?
In the federal budget.
Are they not part of Nigeria?
In the federal system of government.
Are they not part of Nigeria? Are they not responsible for certain issues in security?
Senator, you want to be governor of Ondo State.
Yes. So if I'm governor, I should neglect the traditional rulers.
Just a moment. The traditional rulers are captured under the laws of the state.
Yes.
And they are being taken care of by the state.
Yes.
What in a country that we say, let us tighten our belt, and we're finding those items. Another item was found saying they're procuring security patrol vehicles in Lagos. So they are procuring support for language studies and art in Bayelsa West Senatorial District for schools that are under the control of the state government. And these are, you say, are not unusual.
Okay, thank you very much. They are not unusual because you also know that the federal government gives support to the state. So the idea of total separation is not legible. And secondly, states are non-sovereign within the federal sovereignty. It's one umbrella of sovereignty that comprises everyone. It's for the purpose of administrative convenience that you have state, local government here and there in order to get accountability and distill government policy to the grassroots. So it is not that Lagos is a sovereign state. Is Lagos a sovereign state?
It's a federating unit.
It's a member
it's
of
a
the federal
unit.
unit. So therefore...
I mean, for someone like you who have operated, run business out of, in other federal state, I'm surprised that you are putting up this argument. And that you are saying Federal Cooperative College, Oji River, National Center for Agricultural Mechanization, having projects with this kind of appellation, and you think that is huge?
I'm responding to your own argument that 7,000 project is too small for 250 million people. When do you know that the central strategy of the current federal government is the New Hope agenda?
It is not the number of projects,
Senator.
It is the manner in which it's being done. A colleague of yours, Senator, said on the floor, there was an argument. He went to the rowdy session. Why did he go that far when a colleague of yours said some were getting 500 million, some were getting 300 million?
Okay, that is the difference between a phrase and a complete sentence. Did you give 500 million cash, Senator Sheung? If a senator has a 500 million project, million project in his constituency, a senator,
it's a question of integrity and transparency
because you are
of the process.
A colleague said some senator got 500 million. Did they get 500 million cash? So if a senator got 500 million for constituency projects, I'm not part of that senator because they said senior senator according to what he said.
What went to
telling you clearly,
what went to
nothing,
your constituency?
Absolutely nothing.
You didn't get a million.
We have constituency projects that I met on grant. All I need to do is to make sure there's continuity in those projects.
So your constituency did not get?
I don't need to get.
And your colleagues get 300 million?
My colleagues didn't get 300 million. No. You see, you are missing it. And this is where we have the mistake.
They channeled constituency project in the amount of the value.
This is a complete mischief for you to say senators get. Are you saying
it's a channeled? No. It is a channeled value.
No.
The value of the project channeled to your constituency.
Are you saying? Let's take it one by one. Are you saying senators who are allocated X amount for constituency projects that are awarded to contractor, including the senator is not a contractor, I don't bid for that project.
He's talking about value. I mean,
so what value are you
our level
about?
of conversation is above that.
What is your methodology?
Our conversation is above whether or not if the money goes into the pocket of the senator.
Yeah, but you
our
make
conversation,
the senator.
No, it's not what I make it, what I did not say.
One of the senators.
Senator, just if you remember, because you're a member of the Appropriations Committee. And you are on national television, and we are asking for your defense on what a member, a colleague of yours, the allegations he raised on the floor and his agitation.
Okay, come this way. We have about 9 trillion naira on capital projects. Where does the 9 trillion naira goes to? It goes to various senatorial districts. The budget sent to us by Minister of Finance, prepared by Minister of Budget and Planning, took care of all the constituencies in Nigeria. So if you distribute 9 trillion to 109 senatorial districts, multiply that by 3 to federal constituency and to 776 local governments, 36 states of the federation, will you get 500 million? Look, let's support a government that have a genuine idea towards national development. Let us take away all these side talk, Senator got X amount. The other time you said Senator got rice. Did you get any rice? Has the rice contractor been paid? Are they not supposed to be paid for supplying rice to people? Because President Tinubu always have at the center of his mind the poor. And he want them to get this grain. The other time he took custom, return the rice to the market for the good people to eat. And he leave the economic pains from Nigerians. Let us minute. When Senator backed that with law and appropriation, they have committed an offense.
Let's take a break,
So
Senator. We are due for a break.
I completely disagree with you on this ways and manner, the style and the strategy and the structure of presentation is to malign the integrity of the National Assembly because we are making... The other time you said we are buying cars. Now, are Senate be able to get money to supply cars to all the senators? Have they done up to 20, 30 senators today? This is our ninth month.
So you've not gotten your own car?
Which car? Who have sent car to them?
That's what was budgeted.
Many senators hasn't got any car.
Okay. Let's take a break, Senator.
So don't continue to say, Senator, because they're going to get only one car, and then they will not get that car maybe until the next 1 or 2 years. Then you are now saying, oh, the whole world is coming down. And one of the things that President Tinubu had in mind when he came in show is the fact that budget padding will never happen in his time. And he has enforced that.
All right. Senator, we are due for a break. But when we come back, yes. Senator, don't misrepresent some of the things that are being said on the program. We are calling those in public office to account. Transparency. Even the senators are the ones saying that the integrity of your Senate is called to question. It is not our own words. You get agitated about this. These are not coming from us. I'm coming from you. But Senator, we go on a break. But when we come back, we'll talk more about the economy and Undo politics. We'll be right back, everyone. Join us again. Of government, the executive with Section 81 has said we be caused to prepare and lay before each house of the National Assembly in the financial year. But the issue about transparency, accountability has been a major one. Senator Ibrahim has been speaking with us on this one. Nigerians are very concerned about the manner in which these activities go. But the question is whether or not we are on the right path. You are a member of the Senate Committee, ad hoc committee on Ways and Means. There are a lot of ways by which things have been done in the past that are not right. And this government says it wants to right the wrong, especially with the manner in which the CBN had gone with our monetary policy in this country. What do you think was a major problem at the time?
Well, at the time that the current government assumed office, Nigeria was right at financial dangerous lane. I can tell you that very clearly. Because your total debt has moved from $21 billion to $77 billion at about 100. So the central bank have to face, issues of paying current invoice and invoices that are outstanding. And because the president wants to create credibility, in running the economy, and he's very ambitious to look at local solution to solve Nigeria economic problem. So Ways and Means wasn't really what he is interested at doing. Neither does he really want to even take loans. So the key issue is the fact that these financial deficits have to be addressed. For example, cash to GDP that Tinubu meant on grant, it will never tell you, is 1.5%. How do you run an economy in which cash to GDP is 1.5%? And you think in 5 months, 6 months, you can begin to go to party and be celebrating? Are
we on the right path in reflecting this economy?
Yeah. In fact, we are in an excellent path because now government expenditure has reduced very drastically.
By what percent?
Particularly at the level of the presidency. So the key point here now is that as we save more money, save from, if you don't embark on a particular expenditure, it accounts to savings. Now, if you can manage economy at 1.5% cash to GDP, it's incredible. The amount of money borrowed so far by this government is quite nothing. It's something not significant when you talk about Buhari government. The Buhari government printed 30 trillion naira. So, and this printing of money were not a mark specifically for a fiscal development program, like infrastructure. If you print money to develop Ajakuta, who will blame you? And provided we have Ajakuta running. But because you print money not for Ajakuta, we are having a debt of $6 billion on Ajakuta. And we are having 25% of the total cash budget is for importation of iron. Look at the consequent effect on foreign exchange. Just one item I mentioned from several millions of items. You have things like aviation fuel. When British Airways take off in London, he assumes when he gets to Nigeria, he'll be able to fuel and return back to London. Nigeria doesn't produce aviation jets. We import. Who takes the invoice? Central Bank of Nigeria. You look at the implication of that to your dollar exchange rate. Now, leave all those ones. Come to look at tax ratio to GDP. 18%. Meaning that 72% of Nigerians can still be taxed beyond what they are. But the president will never want to raise this net. Now, if you look at all those items, the variables, one after the other, you will see what I'm talking about. Look at GDP to debt ratio. As well as you see maintaining it at 23%. This is very, very commendable.
Mm-hmm. But there are a lot of who are...
Because the GDP to debt ratio in US today is 123%, 123%. In London, it's 105%. In Nigeria, it's 23 to 30%. Now it means that in England, the England economy has overborrowed to the value of the economy 105%. In America, 123%. And so in Nigeria, it's 40 to 30%. So if you look at all these economic variable, security index, mind you, has increased. It's better than what it was before the president came into office.
But what are the statistics you're working with?
From the security index, look at the general world security index and look at where Nigeria is.
Give us the figures.
Yeah, it's percentage of increase, which is 25%, better than what it was before. Go it down.
No, there was a kidnap of...
It's the fact that we have one kidnap occasion in one particular spot point doesn't
50 people were
the whole...
in...
We sympathize with that, but we are saying relatively to what was meant on ground, it has increased.
Senator.
And the cost of doing business, mind you, that has also created integrity. And international transactions that the president has entered into is well over $60–70 billion, which will translate to reality, money reality, in few months.
So you have confidence in the manner in which these things are being run at the moment?
Absolutely.
By the economic team?
By the economic team. The economic team are doing fantastic.
With the way you grill them, out of that conversation, you and I have had a conversation, yes. Which you gave a lot of indices and a lot of suggestions as to what the government must do. A long list of what you listed were not, you said they need to tackle abandoned projects. Yes. That has not been dealt with. You said they need to approach Exim banks. Yes. That has not been done. Yes. But you're turning around to say they are doing the right thing.
I said, in time of loans, I told you very clearly, look, mind my language. The federal government is doing excellently well because we have a 30 trillion backlog for ways and means that are resulted to inflation. And we also have about $10 billion, outstanding invoice on monthly basis for central bank that they have to clear, from the Buhari administration. So I'm not saying that what I told you before is that abandoned project must be addressed. But you cannot address abandoned project within 3 months. Those are short-run economic policies and long-run economic. There are 111,886 federal government abandoned projects. Do you think Tinubu, even if it will spend 8 years, he can do more than 10 of those abandoned projects? Because an abandoned mega project is a project above $500 million. So
before I need to move to
so I'm trying to tell you that it's not
just
so that we're deviating at all.
No, we're not. Yeah. I'm focused on what the conversation is all about. The bottom line is how these materialize into the money in the pocket of the average person, the food on their table, and the fact that the economy, how is responding to all of these issues. Food inflation, general inflation are all being impacted and the figures are going in the negative. And when you say they are on the right path, when do we start seeing a concrete effect on the cost of commodities and the cost of food in the country? Okay,
let me tell you this very clearly. World GDP to debt ratio is 253%. Nigeria debt ratio is 30%. Surprising.
Senator, those figures mean nothing. I'm talking about how it comes onto the food on the table.
Let me create a foundation.
You don't have the time.
If you don't have the time. If that's the last thing we say is okay. The key point there is that if you have a world GDP in disaster or in disarray, and you have a local GDP that is responding nicely, it doesn't mean you can get fantastic food on your table. Because you are operating within the global system. So the global economy is saying debt ratio to GDP is 253%, meaning that the world has overborrowed by 253% of our what? So obviously speaking, you cannot say because your own economy is 0% to GDP, then you will be having rice and fantastic food on your table. But systematically and gradually, I think this current government is operating welfareist economic policies and program that has immediate impact on the life of the people. So within a very short time, let's be patient with the government. It's not yet 1 year old in office, and I can assure you, as we improve on these economic policies, things will get better. And Nigeria, we have cause to smile. But understand very well that Nigeria cannot operate outside the world basket economy. You are within.
So you are confident about the manner in which this government is going about the economic
Absolutely.
policies?
Ahmed Bola Tinubu will succeed. I can tell you that. And it will make history. Yeah, I can tell you that.
Our prayer. I mean, we are all Nigerians. We want the government.
No, 1 + 1 is 2. What are you praying about the answer?
I mean, whatever. A big percentage of effort of man, if it's not backed by the grace of God, it amounts to nothing. Yeah, there is a spiritual element to whatever we do. We want this government to succeed, but we need
evidence.
to move the right.
We want a preparism. We don't want
path.
We don't want a narrative that
Senator,
are not.
Let us anchor on Ondo politics. I know you have your eyes to become governor, and I know there are a lot of movement in that direction. But those who will say the governor, who was a former deputy governor to the late Governor Rotimi, Akeredolu, should be given a chance of first refusal. Do you think so? Are you conceding to that fact?
What are you refusing? Well, that's why you give it the best first option of first refusal. Is this one a bid in what do you call a commercial bid?
Is a sitting governor right
now?
About
that. Where is it in the world that you see a sitting governor giving? You talk about democracy. What is democracy? Democratization.
It's a convention. It's conventional in politics.
It's not convention. Conventions are non-law.
You attribute,
you're a lawyer.
You attribute
morality and law are siamese twins, but there's a pathway.
You attribute traditionally. You attribute some level of credence to people who are holding present office to whether or not they want to.
If you are competent
in America, Biden is given a chance of first refusal whether he wants to run.
If you are competent and you have your strategy, why are you afraid of competition? Go to the field. If you are elected, so be it.
Are you afraid of Ayedatua?
Myself? How can I be afraid of Ayedatua?
He's a sitting governor.
With my Harvard strategy, my Harvard knowledge, Oxford, I will be afraid of Ayedatua. Go and ask about me for Mimiko. Go and ask about me in the last PDP election in Ondo. Go and ask about how Akeredolu got his first time in office. Who was behind it in time of mobilizing, creating, socialization?
Who was behind it?
Because the Supreme Court gave judgment to the other guy, which is not with the chairman, and then those with this other guy from Bonu, were not allowed in INEC to contest. I was with Sheriff. The other guy, Jegede, was with the other guy, not Sheriff. At the end of the day, the Sheriff guys were not allowed to contest the election. Then I sent a text message to all those two people. Yes, by circumstances of today, please go all and vote for Akeredolu. And what happened in that election? The rest is history. So let's go to that.
I mean, there are those who think that you should be content with being a senator. Why do you want to become governor?
It's not about being, whether you are a senator, whether you are minister. It's not about whether you are, it's not about personal satisfaction. It's about getting to intercede in the precarious economic situation in which we find ourselves in Ondo. Despite human resources of producing oil, we produce the least budget of all the oil producing states. We have Port of Ondo, it never materialized. We have rocks in Akoko looking at us, we are looking at the rocks. We can't do anything about it. The per capita income is completely embarrassing. The economic system has collapsed. So how do you now say that somebody who thinks he can make any part, and he's comfortable, he could do without it, and he has the knowledge, you won't give him the chance to go and do it? And you are saying, I don't run down candidates. That's my policy. I don't contest it. I don't run down candidates from day one. But I am using a resource-based strategy, distilling to political socialization of the environment, and bringing Ondo State out to become one of the best states.
And you think morally, you think financially, you think politically, you have what it takes to get a ticket?
Well, all I need is grace of God. That's number one.
I thought you discarded that. You don't. You think
you are saying we should pray.
I'm saying that we need the grace of God for the Tinubu government also to work.
Let's leave that. God is
now
not,
you need the grace of God.
God is not contentious, and activities around God cannot be in convergence of complexities. You know, we don't build complexities around God. God give me the grace. It's the grace and the knowledge. The Bible says, "My people perish due to lack of wisdom." So I have the knowledge. I have God. Right. The rest are minor. All I need to do is to do domestic socialization of my environment and create appropriate strategy that will create competitive advantage
Senator
in the midst of the competitors.
Thank you so much. We wish you the very best.
Thank you, sir.
Sometimes they say the race is not to the swift, not the battle to the strong.
Yes.
But, well, the grace of God will now set in at that point. Senator Jim Ibrahim, thank you so much.
Not setting always. At all times.
That's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm
Thank you,
Have a wonderful evening.